All right, I wanted to talk about how I think uh, mindfulness meditation intersects, overlaps, or contradicts prayer, sort of Christ-centered activity. Because in my mind and in my practice, they are complementary and supporting practices where the illumination of grace fills the moment, and the practice of understanding the nature of mind um, allows me to be more present to that moment, and it creates this virtuous loop. So I would start by saying that you cannot pray if you are distracted, and that non-distraction is the core, the foundation of um, the path of meditation, right? Identification with the object, identification with the thought, distracts awareness, takes us away from the moment, ultimately causes suffering. And so the practice of seated meditation, beginning with focus on an object so that we can discern more readily when we are distracted. The end state of that practice is this state of equilibrium. And where I think there's a helpful overlap is to think of prayer as not a task, but as an orientation, as a position, as a state that fills the equanimous mind with the thought of the divine, the thought of God, with the presence of Jesus. Yep. So, in that dynamic, which other times I've talked about, sort of the first principle of the overlap of the nature, the understanding of the nature of self, the nature of mind, and the awareness of the mystery of the cosmos, and kind of the unknowability of that cosmos, but the presence within that field of undeniable grace. Prayer is not a task, it's a state of mind. You cannot pray if you are distracted. And if you are free from distraction, you can approach the moment with the rule of life, which we've talked about here before. In my articulation is to approach the moment with three aspects, right? That is to be hydrated, to be lean, and to be sober. And yes, each of those has a very material, physiological, immediate sense. Hydrated literally means drinking enough water. It means that my body is framed and present. But it also means that I am receptive. The hydrated spirit is fluidly open, aware of boundaries, moving within, the river moves within the river bank, but understanding the process nature of the self. Lean, again, physically means that the diet that we consume is healthy and nourishing. It also means that the diet of information that comes in is controlled, right? Is cultivated, is curated, where we cannot fill our mind and our body with garbage. And it's different for different people, right? I am very susceptible to cakes and social media. Like, I'm a target for the algorithm to keep me distracted, to keep me away from the moment, to make me off kilter, to keep me out of that peripheral state. I'm like candidate A, you know. I am the dream candidate for influence by the algorithm, by advertising, by social media. So I have to be very careful what I consume. Being lean physically and being ethically simple, it comes down to cultivating virtue. So if I'm hydrated, I'm drinking enough water, but I'm also aware of the fluid nature of self and not attached to the reified idea of a reified self. If I am lean, I am cultivating virtue, which I can do because the third element is to be sober, which means, yes, avoid intoxication. For me, that means avoid alcohol to all extent, but again, it's different for different people. But with that sobriety comes discernment, which feeds back into understanding how to cultivate virtue, how to discern the value of the amazing information we have available to us, as opposed to what then is a distraction. And then the mind free from distraction is fluid and hydrated. So the moment by moment experience is one of equanimous life, the rule of life, hydrated, lean, sober. Now I can control those elements, right? I can control what I consume. I can control how I understand and think about things. I cannot control the emotions that arise. Those are helpful tools to understand the information that's coming in. They're like a dashboard for my interaction with the external. I cannot control the externals. I talked about this last week, right? Like, I could not recreate the steps that brought me to this moment because it's too complicated. Yes, I can say, well, 10 minutes ago I decided to sit down and record a video. But I couldn't tell you why I'm doing it now at whatever it is, 10:30 instead of when I usually do this, which is at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And so my thoughts now are different than they would have been 4 hours ago. I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't go back to some point and recreate the steps that brought me to this point. Tomorrow will be another point like this. I cannot, with confidence, say what I need to do to have a particular outcome occur tomorrow. Broadly, for sure. I'm not saying that we don't anticipate, plan, sculpt, even have aspirations and desires, but I have to recognize that the path to get to tomorrow is complicated. The will of God and karma are different things, but the message that comes from both of them is that me, this hydrated, lean, sober presence, while I may hope for certain outcomes and take action towards those, ultimately don't understand what the future is going to bring. And so I cannot worry about it. I have to be open to the presence because worry is just another form of distraction. We cultivate mindfulness in the moment. We cultivate the three aspects of the rule of life so we can approach that moment, so we can experience the grace that comes in and is just waiting to permeate that moment. The definition of the self, the definition of the mystery, that is the practice. That's what we're trying to do. So yeah, complementary. Grace fills the moment. The practice allows me to participate in the moment. Understanding the mind and meditation. Meditation is not the same as prayer. Right? Enlightenment is not the same, or nirvana is not the same as grace or as heaven. They're totally different. But there are tools and techniques that assist and are complementary. And that's how I am thinking about it. Now it's how I would suggest that you all think about it. We're trying to interpenetrate our reality with grace and compassion. And these are all practices that prepare us for that, cultivate that, and allow that to, zip in like a laser beam. Or a more gentle metaphor, if you choose. So, That was quick. There was a lot in that. If you have questions, ask them in the comments. Share this. Share this with one person. If you've listened to 10 minutes of this video, there's got to be another person in your life who would enjoy it. Add that one more person. Keep your wits about you.